Hello and welcome to Deconstructing Websites. Hello creatives, and my name's Rachel and I'm the producer at Awwwards. Today we're going to be deconstructing websites with the Awwwards Jury. Now the Awwwards Jury are a global panel of experts who are tasked with critiquing the websites that we see on Awwwards every day. So let's kick off the show. Let's meet today's jury. Hello. So to begin with, we've got Jonas Lempa, partner and creative director of Taikonauten. Welcome back, Jonas.
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Hey, Margherita. Hi, Michael. And welcome to the community. Really excited to go through today's website. So thank you very much. Looking forward.
Awesome. And we are also honored to be joined by Margherita Fortuna, freelance digital art director.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. A little bit nervous, but happy. Thanks, everyone.
And also we're joined by Michael John, CEO, creative director and founder of Loop. It's great to have you with us, Michael.
Thanks for having me. Super excited about today and about the next hours, and about deconstructing the website we have on the table.
Okay, excellent. So remember to put your questions in the chat, and we'll do a Q&A at the end. So have a good one, and I'll see you at the end.
See you.
See ya. Thank you very much, Rachel. Fantastic to be back here again with such amazing jury fellows. So welcome, and let's have a look at this wonderful website, Infrared Promo by Synchronized Studio. It won Site of the Day. It won Mobile Excellence Award. It won the Developers Award. So really hot stuff we are looking at today. By Synchronized Studio, based in the US, but a lot of them are from Eastern Europe, and everybody knows Zhenya, Rynzhuk, also part of this collective of the studio. So hi to you watching us, and hopefully following us and helping us to deconstruct your beautiful, your really cool website of Infrared Promo. But before we jump into details, Michael is going to share a little bit about the highlights we are going to talk about today, right?
Yeah, sure thing. So we obviously spent a lot of time with the website already, checked all the small details that we want to present to you today. I think one thing we will definitely talk about is the massively creative preloader that this website has. And I think there's definitely a bit of a discussion around if preloaders like this are something that are good for the user experience or something that skip the user experience a bit more today, but it's something that we will definitely discuss later. Then the website has a massive amount of really nice transitions and movement. So it's a website where you can feel that both developers and designers have worked closely together to create a best-in-class user experience. You will, of course, hear our first impressions. We will talk about the parallax effects of the website. As something that all the typography lovers in the group of the people that are watching this right now will definitely like it. It's this oversized typography. So there's a lot of nice typography on this website used in a really creative way. Yeah, of course, we'll also go a bit into the content and story. And what you definitely will see also on the website, we will open in a few seconds, is there's wild color blocking and wild color coding used. So it's definitely a stand out of the mass website when it comes to coloring. Back to Jonas, who will introduce the website.
I mean, these highlights promising a lot. So let's jump into the experience. Thank you very much. And let's find the Infrared Promo site. Boom. There it is. The red beauty we are talking about today, the Infrared website with this really cool introducing animation. But before I'm going to continue, I'm really interested in the first impression of Margherita.
Yes, so I'm breaking the ice. Well, of course, I love the design, but the first time I saw it, I actually had a strange feeling, like something was off. And it's because there is this strange contrast really between the design of the website and the service being promoted in it. We are talking about a sauna, an infrared sauna. So it is quite strange to see a very well-designed website for this service. But actually, I like the attempt, of course, because I think it's okay to push design forward and to think outside the box. I mean, in Italy, we would have stereotype images and I don't know, more medical stuff. So I really like the attempt, and you should go along. But I also want to know about Michael, first impressions.
Yeah, so when I saw the website first, I think the first thing I mentioned was it feels like done out of just 5 to 6 different colors. So it's very consistent when it comes to the colors. And of course, what's also something that you see very fast is this big typography. So throughout the whole website, and you'll see it a bit later, there's like huge font elements that really make a big difference. And I think there's this nearly disruptive but super interesting usage of big typography versus super small typography that is very unusual sometimes, but it really makes the website super interesting. So I think that's something that definitely came to my mind. When you scroll it through then a bit, you will also see that there's so much small, nice movement. When you're just a few minutes on the website, you don't even see all these things, but if you spend a bit of time, you can see that there is so much small details done in that website that are very unusual, and someone spent really a lot of time like getting all the small details out in here.
Totally, yeah. And I mean, it's even hard to imagine what an infrared sauna is, right? I mean, I didn't know it before. I didn't know it before, and I think with Ready, Sweat, and Glow, there's a pretty cool introduction. Like the copywriting is also very, very cool, very interesting, and yeah, I think the bridge of this very impressive first view is also explaining what infrared in general is, or infrared sauna in general is, which I think is very important here at this point, because basically the purpose of this whole website is to actually advertise an infrared sauna in the US. I don't know anymore where, but it's interesting that they are starting with explaining, or it's valuable that they're starting explaining what the infrared sauna is, and how you can feel about it, and what are the benefits of that. But we will learn more about that later. But what is your Michael, your impression of this first content piece after the first viewport?
Yeah, I think what you just said is super important. They basically had to like communicate also a topic that you don't know about usually, infrared saunas, and I think they did a really good job to like put it into like a fresh perspective and communicate it in a way that's not your usual sauna experience, basically. That's really super nice. I think also from a content perspective, it's interesting. Like usually when you do a website like this, you expect a lot of like text coming from the client perspective, but it feels like they rarely got content. So they made a quite extensive and all-around website with like not so much text elements, and it's still a really good experience. So I think by using this big text in between that explain with just in the small text, that's something that works really well.
Yeah.
I think also interesting is of course the picture usage. Like that's something that most of the pictures look like they already existed, and they're not directly seamless, but they used a really nice effect on the pictures to make sure that the pictures basically are blurring into the overall design perfectly. Everything is red or purple, and it all fits together really well.
Yeah, I think the main concept here in the design was actually the contrast between the color, the vibrant color, and opposed to the images and the white space, and I don't know, everything is as a few palette color, but this is really strong. So I think this is the main concept behind. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out what they think when they designed the project at first.
Definitely. I mean, Synchronized Studio is hopefully watching, so they can for sure share a couple of thoughts on how they interpret their task and how they interpret this brand extension in the digital context. Because I also think that this color combination of orange, red, and purple, pink, and stuff like that is not very common, and so you need to be really bold to do that. And a local infrared studio is. I think they were very open-minded to make beautiful things possible and cool things possible, even when I think that it could be a big stretch to the actual target group, to the actual audience, that if they really understand of what's all about, and if they really feel, let's say, guided when they're looking for something on Google or Google Maps and then finding this website. Maybe it's a little bit overwhelming, but I mean, they for sure will tell us what are the deeper thoughts behind that, and I believe that it's more than just doing a really cool website.
That makes the topic look very fresh, and I think that's what you just said. Also, it's very brave, not only from the agency but also from a client perspective, to go ahead with a concept like this, because it looks like a very fresh topic. It's definitely not your not the sauna experience that you usually know from like common saunas. I think also these big elements that you have here is super interesting. They work massively good on mobile too, so I think that's something that also is really speaking for the website.
Yeah, it almost feels like posters, right? We are again in this very trendy, very not trendy, but very common way of creating digital experiences, which are in this poster feeling, this very curated, very great composition, combined here with really beautiful icons and a beautiful balance of typography, of color, and how they block each other.
Yeah, for me, typography is actually the first thing I look in a website. And I think they decided for an elegant font, maybe because they wanted to present the service more like a luxury or more elegant. And I actually like the balance between the elegant font, where the message needs to be catchy and warm, but also the other font, the serif font, where the message needs to be really direct and read. So I think there is a really good thought about typography.
Yeah, it really gives you a warm feeling, and I mean, I actually almost think that I'm lying there on the left, right, with all these shadows and all these different types of red. So it's a really interesting combination. But Michael, you wanted to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, you have something on the screen right now that is, I think, the next really good highlight on this website is these oversized buttons. There's even bigger buttons coming later. I really like the micro animation on the buttons, and I really like also the fact that the buttons are that big and that massive, so they didn't try to even round the buttons or something. It's like all caps inside. It's like a big button, and I think it's really, it fits the website with these overall big squares and big text elements in the combination with the small text. And yeah, buttons are definitely a standout piece on this site.
That's really true, yeah. And I mean, when you look at the really small details, you see here even a 1 or 2 pixel outline. And because I'm a big fan of usability and some kind of user guidance, we could find out that actually most of the things with a corner, with a border, are actually interactive modules or interactive elements. Yeah. And this is very important in a website like this, where it's a lot of, let's say, emotion and lots of big pictures, and then you sometimes get lost. Where can I interact? Where is actually a way of clicking or following a lead or something like that? And it's a small thing, but it's a very clever thing. So thank you for that. Definitely. You can also see here a very interesting testimonial module, which is again in this framed corner, or has this pixel frame, and gives you a lead to how to interact with that, or that it's actually an area to interact with.
Well, in this case, if I may, I like how they present the reviews and the part of the community and what the people says about this service. But I don't know, it is very hard, the part of the testimonials in a website, because I don't know, it might be not very well designed. But in this precise case, maybe some kind of humanity is losing in this part of the website. But it's just a minor feedback if we want to really be picky about it.
Yeah, usually there's like a well-known look and feel of these testimonials, and no one likes to build it into websites, but they really found a nice way to build it in. Also, like this minimal 2-color style is really nice for that they really didn't even use any, a bit brighter, a bit darker. It's all 2 colors, and I think that works really well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the only thing about like these testimonial modules are also, as you said, a pretty hard thing to tackle, right? So sometimes they're really looking expected or maybe not that exciting. Here is a level of minimalization which almost follows to an area where you really think, are these actually real comments? Yeah, because I mean, there's like no connection to, I don't know, a social media profile or some kind of name or some kind of the typical quote feeling. So it's a little bit, I mean, bad people could imagine, oh, this is maybe not necessarily real content. So giving something kind of a additional trust level or additional add-on to really underline the value of these probably or very likely true comments helps a lot for really communicating these positive things or positive experiences.
Definitely more sold from a design perspective. But it looks good.
Definitely. So let's take another look here on join our community. Margherita, what do you think about this sentence, about this comment?
Well, that was something I felt. I mean, we were talking about the testimonials without any face of what we were reading, but then we are talking about join our community. So I don't know, maybe it's a little bit strange not to see a person or maybe a human perspective, but anyway, the website is of course very well designed in every aspect. We see the contrast between the photographs and micro interactions and everything. So it is, for me, it was just a minor feedback, but everything is actually perfect.
It's quite brave to call the membership directly a community, but I think it's something new. It's interesting, but it also led me to directly click on their social media profiles when I read this, and I think that's something that at least makes it possible.
I mean, speaking of the social media profiles, I think one thing is very interesting is how Synchronized Studio interpreted the actual profile of them, right? Because the actual visuality and the actually current corporate design and how they communicate is very different than what they created as a new entrance point for their brand. Yeah. And I think that's a very interesting approach that they, for example, did an iterative way of redesigning different channels and redesigning probably the whole experience. And I think there's also, they did one very clever thing, and Michael, you pointed that out, is by using a special effect, even not that good pictures look very well on the website. And what's your comment on that?
It needs a strong design vision to like have the starting point and come up with a website like this, I feel. Because if you look at the social media profiles or the other channels of the brand, it looks like they definitely are, from design perspective, far behind the website. And I think the art and creative director did this website definitely had a good vision of how that could look like. And yeah, as you've mentioned already, I think using these existing pictures and making them all, bringing them all into one similar consistent style that actually really like blends into the website design that good is quite visionary and good from the perspective.
Do you think there are existing pictures? Because I think some of them, maybe they shoot them in the studios. I mean, this one in particular, it looks like a really picture made by the studio. I don't know if maybe they will answer.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's stock or they did it or whatever, I think they found a very clever way, and I think that's really something. I mean, how often did we deal with the problem? We have a great website, a cool design, and then there's some bad content coming and some really bad pictures, and then somehow the whole design is somehow. It destroys it, and they found a very clever way with this multiply and this blocking of different zooming also into these pictures to really make it. I mean, of course, these are cool pictures, but probably maybe short, maybe not. But we will see also other pictures which are maybe not that good, but with a good zoom in and a good multiply effects. It's a really clever way to make a consistent experience, even if the pictures are not that good.
Yeah, I think that is the main challenge. Maybe when you design a project, I mean, you don't have always the pictures you can take off, but you are given pictures by the clients. So it is a really nice way to portray a website and really find the best way to design every aspect of the project.
Yeah, it turns the pictures into design elements, and I think it's not only pictures in the website, because you rarely find something that feels like a gallery or actual usual usage of pictures or photos. It's all design elements that perfectly fit to this flat, other bigger square elements that have the same colors, and I think that's super interesting.
Margherita, Michael, I have a hypothesis. And the hypothesis is that, I mean, Synchronized Studio and Zhenya, we all know them from the awards, multiple awards community they won. And they have a specific, very cool, very on-point handwriting, like design style, yeah? I mean, a beautiful one, a really cool one. And I think this is also a very interesting way, because maybe however was the approach that the client went to them, or they were kind to the client or whatever, I think one of the first interconnecting parts was they identified this handwriting and they saw, I also want to do that, or this topic really fits well to this handwriting. So I think that there's always a discussion, okay, should an agency, a studio have a specific style or not, or is it more better than really adapt to the clients or the project's visual style? And I think here it's really interesting that they're following their principles, and with that they really recreated a very niche topic in a way which makes us to talk about it.
Yeah. And they did well, because again, that could also be quite an boring one pager. They turned it into a, I think, 4 or 5 sub-pages website that gives at the end a lot of inspiration, information about the topic.
That's true. That's true. So let's jump into the next area, and it's the About Us. Speaking of preloaders, we got this beauty here. We just had it. Let's try it like this.
Just comes once. Yeah, I think for the preloaders, it's a fair topic to discuss if it's really needed to have a preloader in each page iteration or in each page transition. I think right now at the page, whenever you switch the page, you get the preloader. It's a super nice preloader, and it also takes the element that comes always again on the website. I think it's basically the logo for the company in their way of showing it. However, it also takes always a bit of time. I think we had up front a bit of discussion if it's like, the site speed versus the preloader, what would you prefer? But I think in that way, it's actually, or in this page, is actually a really nice element that extends the user experience by constantly also showing in a very inspirational way this infrared sun basically each time again.
Yeah, they look like beams of light, so it's very on point, I think. And we actually know that preloader, yes, it is beams of light. I'm sure about that. I will sure. Well, we also say that maybe, preloaders sometimes are just fake because we don't have much of the content to actually load. But it's in this case, all preloader and transitions are I think they're very well done.
I think also the header you have right now on the screen, Jonas, is one of a really nice example of how well they put a parallax and zoom effect together. So on the one hand side, when you scroll a bit, you can immediately see that there's a super soft parallax between the font and the background, but also the background zooms in a bit. I don't actually think it's video, it's just a picture that scales a bit, but in total, it's a really nice movement, and it's very, it's not a lot of movement, but it really makes the website much more interesting than if it would just scroll without these two effects at the same time.
Yeah, I feel the same. Sometimes we feel the urge to animate everything, but at the end, maybe the website looks like a roller coaster. So I think it's important to find the right balance of the every movement. And in this case, of course, it is very well done.
I think the best movements are the ones that you barely see. Like if you overdo parallax or if you overdo these image zooms, then it gets sometimes really a bit messy and hard to use the website. But in that case, it just is like super slight and soft effect that makes it so much better. However, it's not something that would in any way disturb you or feel like it's totally too much for this website.
What I also think is very interesting, and I mean, I really like these small micro usability things, and maybe it's also depending on my resolution right now, but I like that the copy is not fully there. It's cut it at the bottom, like you can't read the infrared, so you know you immediately want to scroll, right? And when you have this often like this poster-like bold websites, they're sometimes like they're trying to create the composition where something ends because you will really want to have this beautiful picture. And I think this is a very clever way, and you see also this on the mobile experience, is that they always try to make one content piece in a viewport or cut it in a way that you really naturally want to scroll.
Yeah, I think that's also quite clever, because a lot of clients naturally would say we want things above the fold. But I think if you have the trigger above the fold, then it's actually even better than if you have like a full element above fold, because as you said, it triggers you to like scroll down.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think even numbers say that in general, due to the whole social media things we are experiencing in the last couple of years, scrolling is almost natural in all the things we do in a digital context, and combining that is pretty cool. And maybe sometimes you don't need the numbers to convince the client to actually do things.
Yeah, that's why we don't have an icon just that suggests scroll down. I mean, I remember that at first every website has this icon. But maybe from this moment now, we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit not sure about double content, like please scroll here or please click here in a button or something like that. When you need to do that, I think something went wrong, to be honest. But of course, it depends on the experience. But nevertheless, about us at Infrared Mind Plus Body. Here we got some kind of storytelling. Margherita, what do you think about that?
Well, I think every aspect of the website has been really taken care of in a very detailed perspective. We're not just talking about the design, the icons, the sign, the little sign, the typography, but also part of the development. And I also think about the content, like the tone of voice. I don't know, I'm particularly fond of the tone of voice. There is a part in the website, I don't really remember where the copy said, "We got you covered in sweat." So I think everything is very well thought. And it's actually a suggestion I can give to the community to not just look to the design, but to every aspect of the project you are looking.
Sweating inside a heated space. That's what we are doing here right now.
Yes.
And getting introduced about the cabins and that they're releasing endorphins and things like that.
Yeah, these elements, I really like these like big copies in the middle. There's just a message coming in from Zhenya, the art director, worked on the website, saying that it was actually the third project for this specific client, so they trusted them completely. And I think that's actually something you can see in this website, that the client had a lot of trust that they basically were able to do what they think is right. So that's also, I think, a nice background information about how this website actually ended up like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, also the adaptation of these different styles, this one pixel line everywhere, and these sun-like visual illustration, where here it's infrared, even the small things are fun and thought through, and yeah, it combines and makes it to really. There we go.
Yeah, that's the copy I was talking about.
Cool.
Yeah. There's this big button again. It's basically it's actually my favorite button on this website. I would say, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but these big buttons are really also a quite nice element on this website. Also, like this transition now from this button to the area below, where you just have this super narrow arrow that scrolls you nearly.
Boom.
There's this one moment where you have the full screen with nothing filled basically in the middle, because the line is so long that you have this like empty area you scroll over. Also something that is very unusual that you wouldn't do on each website, but super nice.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Definitely. Well, then let's explore the proven health benefits. Hear good, feel good. So I think this is actually one of my most favorite parts here, where like just from this perfect balance of squares and this bold and really small text in contrast with this really cool icons. Unfortunately, they're not spinning here. Normally they're spinning everywhere, but maybe there was no time left, whatever. But I really like this, and well, I hope that these promises are real, because then I'm going to start going to an infrared sauna, right?
Yeah, me too. In this part, for example, I don't know, I like how they play with the information. They look like cards, or I don't know, in my opinion, they look like labels of a packaging with the title, the description, and the icon on the top. So I really like how they present the benefits, the main information, but in actually a visual and playful way.
Yeah, it's quite simple. And also, again, here this super small text in like compared to this big text is something that's, I think, quite disruptive and untypical. From the icons perspective, I always felt like from the beginning that they feel like retro emojis, which I also really like. They're like super flat and yeah, in a specific way they remind me of emojis, but in a very retro style, which also fits the overall website style very good. And
they actually are the only elements outside the color palette system. So I think they are nice because they break they kind of break the rhythm of the page, because they are actually the only elements outside the palette, the strong palette.
Very true. And I mean, what we are seeing here is they are playing with the same modules over and over again, but they have sometimes like one or two specific breakers in this one page or in this or in the sub pages, which immediately makes it, oh, there's something different happening. And I think it's a good way of, let's say, making a modular system and making it still exciting by breaking a few things, adding oversized things, or having a breaking line like here, which makes it really exciting, even if it's sometimes repetitive modules, which makes total sense, because not every module, not every text block should be developed or created over and over again. But it's a good way to find these breakers to make some kind of additional dynamic to the experience.
You know, sometimes they just invert the modules and it feels like a new module, but it's just the inverted color coding of the initial module, which is really nice.
That's true. Well, again, we have here again this super zoomed in pictures and combination. It's also very, very graphical, right? I mean, you were just talking about these icons. I mean, there's a lot of, even if it's a web design or digital design, there's lots of traditional graphical design elements in it, which also makes it, especially for us design lovers, very, very pleasing and very attractive, I would say.
Yeah, I was reading a comment by Zhenya. She said that the client took the photos, but the Synchronized studio made kind of course, a mood board for the shooting. I would like to ask the client why there are just male pictures in the website. There's just one female. So I don't know, maybe the sauna is just maybe for men, I don't know. But this is just my insane comment, not good for the Deconstructing website.
I think it's a total valuable comment, right? I mean, when you don't know infrared saunas and when you only see specific gender or whatever, then you're maybe confused a little bit if it's just for a certain kind of people or whatever. So from this point of view, interesting comment. I mean, totally valuable, and I mean, more and more important than ever. Well, we were already talking about the community, so let's take a look what it costs to become part of the community. Lend your mind and body. Michael, you had a really interesting thought on this very different services and memberships area, which you liked, I guess, right? So would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Such a nice transition again. Yeah, for this page again, I feel like especially when it comes to the conversion page, usually people would go for like usual user experiences, and it's still such a standout user experience, even if it's made to like create new customers or get signups. And I think it works really well. It again looks a bit like a retro style, I would say. It's again just 2 or 3 colors that are used. Really nice that everything is like these huge buttons. If you move the mouse always, you totally know what's the clickable area. I think that's also one super interesting element. There's actually also a question coming in about that. I see in the Q&A chat, and it's the question if the book now button, especially on the header, that has so much more importance than the logo, if that's something that would be potentially a branding problem, or if it's all about conversions. I think it's something that actually works quite well from my perspective. I think it's something you know from a lot of startup pages that sell virtual tools or SaaS, that there's always like a sign up button. It's quite big. So I think it looks to me quite inspired from the point, and I think it's necessarily not an issue that the book now button is so strong compared to the logo. What do you think?
I think, I mean, the logo is, I mean, everyone maybe not know the service, so they are more attractive to the storytelling and actually the website. So they need to know the service by the website, not just from the logo. So I think the main call to action has to be bigger, because it's actually one of the thing you have to do after you read and you have the impact on the website, if you want, of course, to book a service. So I don't think it is an error to have the logo smaller than the actual call to action.
I mean, to be honest, this whole website screams branding.
Yeah.
And also because we learn from the social media channel that the current branding is maybe not the most appealing one. It's also great to have like this way of introducing a new visual style and introducing a new look and feel and introducing emotions and whatever is combined with that. So having such a small logo is actually, from my point of view for this website, absolutely no problem, because basically everything is the logo or the brand. So from this perspective, I think it's completely fine, and it's a great
understatement, I would say, for the
and it's a cool balance between introducing the infrared way, and then we have like this book now in a complete section just explaining you what we see here right now is book me or book now or whatever. Even if the whole area unfortunately is not clickable, it's only the small arrow here. Definitely something which could maybe be optimized, but
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
But then here you can click on every box.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a nice way to like, first they didn't use any buttons here. So basically it's all just the elements itself, like the squares that are the buttons. And you choose between 3 memberships and everything it needs is basically just these boxes and this Hoover effect, which is super important. I think it wouldn't work without that Hoover effect, but with that effect, it's working quite good.
Pegs. I totally.
Oh, there's
I
a
totally agree.
female.
Big fan of the mega typography, big words like this. That makes the website for me.
Yeah, and about typography, I think what it's good for this website on Awwwards is that you always find a new type foundry. So I always looked about the typography. So it is a good way to discover new type foundry.
Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, and I was just asking myself, okay, they are not very aggressive with prices or with what or like, let's say, or discounts or make this package or that or whatever. So I mean, I'm asking myself, maybe it is not necessarily the main channel to book something via on this particular website, because when you click on a book now, I cannot show you yet, but you get actually linked to an external page, which is like probably some website where you can book in general, like beauty and health services and so on and so forth, and where you can get more details. But with the really big buttons and with this really cool way of introducing the topic and the possibilities, I think it's an interesting combination. Oh, there is a small 41% savings.
Yeah, but in the smallest font size.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you are more confident in buying a service or buying something because you are guided by a very well designed. I don't know. Maybe it's just my point of view because I am victim of the marketing. But I mean, I feel very welcome when a service is very well presented.
So, do you feel excited to contact them?
Yes, but they're not in Italy.
Perfect. So find us. Yeah,
in this part, if I have to be really picky, and sorry, Zhenya, I don't want to be judgy, but we look the website and I really want to book a service, but I don't know. I mean, I have to copy and paste the address to Google Maps to find the actual location. So maybe it should be linked to a Google page because we really want to go there.
Yeah, it's also on the mobile experience that, I mean, when especially on the way, there could be maybe a quick access point or something like that to actually get me to the location, which is not here. But again, how much conversion should this website lead to, or is it more about introducing something new in a really cool way?
Yeah, maybe the contact page is not the primary, of course, page, but because you already saw everything in the other part.
It's also a local service, so they have 2 venues where you can basically use the service. So it's nothing where you can everywhere in the world just book a session now. So I think it's also very much about the image on a local level for them.
Very true, very true. So, if I may ask you for an overall impression and what you think is really, really great and what you think could be, I mean, maybe a learning effect for new designers or maybe even for Synchronized Studio, what would be your overall statement, your overall final comment on this whole experience we just deconstructed. Margherita, do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I was saying at first, I liked the attempt they made, and they made, of course, successfully. I like the fact that the way they think of the design in a new perspective, they make a really great design out of a service that is quite maybe common, and yeah, the challenge they face. So I think it's really important to guide our client to a new perspective and to see things to another perspective. So that's why that's my thought in general. The website is beautiful. We don't have to say more.
Yeah, I think the website proves that even a small local business can actually be quite a brand from the feeling if the website works well for them. And I think also in a simple way, so it doesn't look like someone had to spend a 6-digit amount for this website. So it looks like very minimal and simple, and still makes a very good brand. And I think that's something super important to sometimes keep in mind if you work on things for small clients. Sometimes it's always possible to really make them a good brand. And in that case, I think also by using less colors, less elements, big typography, it's a quite simple brand, which is also cool, because sometimes websites lack of branding just because there's so much things on it, and pictures have different styles, and a mix of, real stock images, made images, professional images. And in that case, as everything is so consistent, it actually, as you said before, the whole website is one branding element. And that's basically done also in a way that is quite minimal, and I think that's a really good example for any kind of small business out there.
Great final statements, to be honest. Thank you very much for that. I mean,
Yes.
that it is a real pleasure to navigate through the website and to see, I think, an outcome of a really great collaboration between development, content, design, and so. Thank you very much so far, Margherita and Michael. I think we are at the moment where there are a few questions we are about to answer. So, Rachel, can I invite you back to ask us a few things?
Hello, yes. Okay, yeah, great deconstruction, everyone. That was very interesting. We were very lucky to have Zhenya in, and she was answering questions as we went. So thank you, we really appreciate that. So yeah, let's go with the questions. As a freelancer, do you think you could make a winning site like this one all on your own?
Okay, so I think I should answer this question because I'm the only freelancer here. As much as I would like to say yes, I don't think so. I mean, as a freelancer, you could do, of course, a great job, but I think teamwork is always the best solution, because every person has his own skills that could be perfect for the outcome of a project. So no, I mean, you can do a really good job, but to be really perfect, you need to trust your team and to work in a team. I mean, in my experience, yes, I'm a freelancer, but most of the time I work with the team of the agency. And if I may add something, actually, I don't know, there is this saying about that every person has to be perfect in every aspect of the design, but I think I don't know. I mean, I felt like I was not good enough a lot of time ago, because sometimes some people make me feel that way, but I think we should be good in what we do, but always trust people and to work together with other people, because you cannot do everything by your own. And I'm just stopping. I don't want to just think.
That's it, super perfect.
Thank you, Margherita. Next question. Do you think a website like the one we saw today can build a strong brand out of a small business, or does it need more?
I think absolutely yes. I think that was what I mentioned before already. I think in that case, it's a real good proof that a small business that necessarily doesn't have such a big brand guideline like all global brands would have can really end up being a very strong brand that also separates itself from other probably similar services if the website works well. So I think we're still in a time where a website can make a brand in the same way than probably for others brand guidelines could do it. What's your opinion, Jonas and Margherita, on that?
But just to comment on that, it is hard to find trusted partners or trusted agencies saying or giving, like, rather you have maybe a business, a local business, which works with a local agency or whatever, and then who says that this is the right way to really shine bright like a diamond or whatever. It's hard to find. It's hard to, Rachel, don't laugh. So it's really hard to find those because they don't have like the possibility to look all over the world or for a lot of months or whatever. And on the other hand side, local businesses also need to trust the right ones, right? So there are a lot of not bad, but maybe not so good collaborators to be able to create great things. So, and I think also when you look at the awards platform, there are also a lot of not only studios or not only agencies, but also a lot of freelancers having a great platform to show their skills and to show their uniqueness or their style or whatever. So I think it's good to have platforms like that and not just go to Fiverr and buy a logo for 10 euros.
Yeah. Are you talking about Facebook? Buying. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that we're getting Rihanna quoted here on the Deconstructing website. That's good.
Yeah, I saw the Rihanna quote.
Yes.
I don't know where this comes from, where this came from.
It just worked, so it's fine. Okay, let's talk about site speed. How important is site speed? What are your opinions?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, especially when it comes to these preloaders. We had this discussion, of course, up front. We checked the website. I think site speed is important today. Of course, everyone wants good search positions and everyone wants like fast user experience. But I think sometimes pages are also allowed to like entertain you a bit with like transitions in between or let you scroll over a bigger picture that potentially needs a bit more loading time. A person would always say like site speed, of course, important, but user experience is important too. And I think it needs to find this balance in between like especially for websites like this, where it's not about just creating conversions, where it's also about creating a good experience and making you aware of what they do and who they are and giving you a good feeling. I would not necessarily go all in on site speed, but also in some cases say that's good for the user experience. Like let's put it to the forefront.
Yeah, for me, for example, is everything. I mean, we are constantly full of notifications and input from our life that maybe if the website is slow, we just get used of it and tired of it. So we want to change. So I think site speed is extremely essential for every website.
And I think also like, but this is not a free ticket for creating heavy loading websites, right? So it's
No.
still it's still about also the magic of a really performant website. So kudos to all engineers and front-end developers to tackle those things on a daily basis because this is again, it's not a free ticket for making slow websites, but having like this combination of Michael, you just said, and Margherita, I think is very, very valuable, and always something like a mantra you should always have over every project you're tackling, finding the right way of page speed and loading time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and quite a nice comment from Ab in the chat. He's saying site speed is also very important from a sustainability standpoint. The internet uses a lot of energy.
Well, this is a good point.
So let's stop here right now.
Okay, next question. How important is teamwork to the success of a site? e.g. collaboration, dev, design, content?
This is the 1 million question. No, for me, I said before that teamwork is essential. You cannot just design a website. From a designer point of view, you have to speak with the developers. You have to have a constant collaboration with the other part of the team. But I don't know. I think Michael and Jonas think the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of these details on such a website only can turn out in this excellent way if developers and designers are speaking a lot together. I think some things can't be briefed from A to B. Some things have to be done together and tried a bit different. And, you know, these parallel situations or these Zooms are definitely things where I feel like you have to try 30 different options to find the right way to do it. So I think especially when it comes to websites that are that interactive and have so much transitions, it's super important that the full team is not briefing from A to B, but really working together.
Yeah, I would be also very interested about Synchronized Studio's approach, because they are like not 500 people, they're a small group of talented people, and how they approach it, right? So, I mean, is there first some kind of prototype, or is there first like a dev prototype, very roughly created, or is it first like kind of viewports Zhenya created or whoever, and then kind of the combination? Because I think that there are many different approaches. With collaboration, with agile principles, or also because of there's a good way of a waterfall system, but perfect communication, right? So that's very interesting, and probably a whole topic for itself. So better not continuing on that question.
Okay, so yeah, we'll move on then. Next question. In a time where people find so many things on social networks, what makes websites like this one so relevant?
Happy to answer here. I think in that case, it shows that the website can be the main brand element. However, I still think, and I mentioned before, that this website would probably benefit with more traffic if the social network also has like the same vibes and the same coolness that the website has at the moment. So I think there's always a bit of a combination between both of them. So if I would launch a brand today, or if I do a brand today, I would always make sure that social plus website is kind of one ecosystem, because a lot of people find these kind of services today through Instagram, through shares of other people. And if you're like attracted by the Instagram profile, the chance that you visit the website is much higher, while the website is usually the main touch point for actually booking or conversions then. So I think the more it plays together, the better today.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, when you look on, I found myself buying something to Instagram for the first time a couple of days ago, and I said, why the hell did I do that? Yeah, I had a good advertising, and it was a cool website behind it, and it was a very consistent experience, and so from this point of view, I think it's a very valuable funnel. Yeah, it's not about, hey, here are additional touch points on social media, but oftentimes also that social media is the entrance point to the brand. Yeah, and then before you had just like this small square on Instagram, and then after that you have like this beautiful world opening, and bringing you to never seen areas or whatever. And I think so from this point of view, it is very relevant to combine that. And I think with that, maybe Synchronized Studio has also a new project by rebranding the whole thing, and also the social media touch points of infrared. So let's see what's happening there, and what's going to come up.
Okay, so yeah, unless anyone has any more questions in the chat, we'll start wrapping up. Yeah, I want to say big thank you to Zhenya for joining the chat, and she's been answering your questions as you go. So thank you.
Thanks.
And of course, so congratulations to the whole of Synchronized Studio team for doing an amazing job. And also, we do want to get Zhenya on the show. So Let us convince you, because we'd love to have you on this show to deconstruct the website. All right, so yeah, that's all for today. Time's up. So massive thank you for everyone who watched at home, for all your questions, for all of your likes, and massive thank you to Michael.
Thanks for having me. It was really exciting hour.
Thank you, Margherita.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for everyone to be here. It was really, really beautiful.
Oh, and thank you so much, Jonas, as always, for doing an excellent job.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks everybody for joining. Michael, Margherita, you're awesome. Rachel, Charlotte in the background, thank you also. And the community. So see you soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll see you next time on Deconstructing Websites.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.